Had it not been for a mastermind, I would not be in the United States. I would have not grown my company to $1 million, my first million in 2015. And the mastermind principle will completely shift your pickleball business. Hi, my name's Simon Lovell. If you're not already subscribed, I help pickleball business entrepreneurs grow. I want to share this quote with you. The mastermind principle consists of an alliance of two or more minds working in perfect harmony for the attainment of a common definitive objective. No two minds ever come together without a third invisible force, which may be likened to a third mind. When a group of individual minds are coordinated and function in harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual in the group. So I first came across this concept many years ago, but it wasn't until I actually invested in a mastermind that it completely changed me, and I'll tell you that story. Now, I am going to be sharing some really big numbers, but I just want you to understand that this happens at multiple levels. You just need to understand the concept and then start to put yourselves in that situation, and it might not be now, it might be in the future, but it's so important that you understand. Now, this quote, this whole concept came in the book Think and Grow Rich. This book is staple for entrepreneurship, for business leadership. I've spent time with billionaires and they attribute to their success to Think and Grow Rich. So it's very important for entrepreneurs to read it, understand it, and then go into this concept a bit more. So I had been trying to grow my business. I had some level of success, but it was in 2013 that I invested $30,000 in a mastermind, and I paid my first payment, and then I never missed a payment for 2 years in that particular mastermind. I then went on to go into Tony Robbins's Platinum Mastermind, which was a $65,000 cost. And you're probably wondering, okay, because I understand if you're at certain income levels, it's like, well, how does that even happen? You need to move through different stages. But the important thing to understand here is that there's a big difference between like free groups where people are just selling their stuff. Like there's groups and there's masterminds. And so when you have people investing in the mastermind, they're showing up as an investor, right? So they've made an investment. They're not just freebie seeking. And also, it's about the quality of what they share. I noticed within myself, I went into masterminds, like really trying to soak up as much information as I could, then reached a certain level of success. And then I was being in that mastermind more to give and to share because, I had grown my company to a very high level. So what happens is in these masterminds, you go in and basically people are sharing what's working. They're sharing their best stuff. They're sharing systems. They're sharing processes. And what you do is you soak up the thinking. This is huge. You soak up the thinking of these individuals because it's a certain caliber that you're around, right? These people are high performers. These people are investing in themselves. They're spending money. They're sometimes losing money. They're sharing their mistakes. And the more that you are around that, then yes, you're making notes, but you're going away and actioning that information. So yes, there's kind of coaching woven into the mastermind, but it's really important to understand that it's about the caliber of the people. It's the people that you're spending time with. And in business, it makes sense to find people who have already been there and done it, because otherwise you go into this cycle, this actually very frustrating cycle of trying to figure it out on your own, right? So you're consuming information and you don't have an outlet. You don't have a way to, share what's really happening. The other thing about these masterminds is that it's a safe space to share. And in entrepreneurship, it's absolutely critical to share the actual truth and reality, the brutal level of really what's going on. I'll give you a couple of stories, mastermind stories. Some of these are embarrassing, but they're worth telling. So at this point, I joined this mastermind 2013. At the time, I was drinking a lot. I was more, less evolved on my spiritual journey. And, one example was the mastermind was happening in Las Vegas. It was starting at like 9 o'clock. I'd gone out the night before. I was drinking in Vegas. And the mentor like held a boundary with me. He was like, "You're late, you're not coming in." And it was like, I got really frustrated. And it was like, there was a certain standard, right, to what you did and how you operated within this mastermind. I was also on a call, because part of these masterminds, you have these conversations and calls where you're talking about things and talking about what's real and overcoming things. And I can remember getting really frustrated on the call. And then, he was so good because he was saying to me, like, breathe, like, and he kind of just sensed what was happening. And it was kind of that coaching that was woven into the mastermind that really like up-leveled me in so many different ways as a business owner and as an entrepreneur. And the more that I went to these masterminds and the more that I just showed up and was willing, to have the mindset of, I want to be the best client here and do the work and like show up to every call. It's that showing up and it's that going all in that makes the investment so worth it. Because, I had a lot of fear for investing this $30,000, but I made $1 million because of it. And so I really want to talk about this because I really do think, especially in the pickleball space, with so many new people coming in, new entrepreneurs, understanding investment and what that means versus entertainment and spending, and the comparison between actually looking at what we are wasting money on in terms of, the things that we don't really need, and then actual, having a pivot mentally to go like, oh, this is an investment. If I invest in this, I'm taking it more seriously. I'm also going to be around a different caliber of people. And then your beliefs start to shift. Your business starts to shift. And so you need to make that investment. For me, I needed to make that big investment. And then it was interesting because when I invested in Tony Robbins, I remember all of the resistance that I was feeling going into this one mastermind. And then I felt it again. But then I realized it was not a reason for me to not step in. The fear wasn't a reason for me not to step in. It was just resistance for me to break through to the next level, right? That is so important to recognize, which is our own emotions that stop us from taking an action. So masterminds can be very powerful if it's the right person leading it, the right people, showing up. And also it's about your participation. It's about you being willing to give and to share. And then everyone understanding like we're all here to help each other succeed and to grow. Because in reality, it can be very lonely on the entrepreneurial journey. Behind the scenes, there's burnout, there's stress, there's overwhelm, and we need an outlet. We need to be able to vent. We need to be able to go, hey, this isn't working for me. Like, what do I need to do to actually break through and pivot? So I really want to hammer home here the difference between information consumption and then also being around people who can bring the best out in us. Because we don't do that when we're just consuming information. And information with investment equals results. And so we have to have our own psychology in saying, am I just going through this information, but I'm actioning none of it? Is the reason for that because I've not actually taken a leap and actually made an investment in myself, and I'm not really taking this seriously. So I've never, personally, and maybe there are people out there, I've never met, and I've met a lot of millionaires over the years and billionaires, I've never met a millionaire or billionaire that made their millions or billions through watching free information. Because what we actually need is systems and processes, and we need to have skin in the game and be around the right people. So I had a huge shift in my business when I invested in Tony Robbins, because the people that Tony introduces you to, I went to India and did all these kind of like healing processes. And I'm just a completely different type of entrepreneur now than I was because of the merging of, personal development and also business strategy. If you're interested in being part of a mastermind, you can check out the Pickleball Mastermind. There's a link in the description. There are other masterminds that I'm sure over the years are going to be formed, right? There are masterminds in different areas. Maybe you're watching this and, there's other mastermind groups around different topics. So this video, the intention is this video is to bring your attention to A, Think and Grow Rich, B, the concept of masterminds, and then also really understanding that investing in yourself, for example, I had a big turning point when I made that $30,000 investment, because and this is what it was, which was, I'm willing to invest this in myself. And then there was a direct relation between my investing and then valuing myself in, what I was charging, my own worth, and that helped me to grow a very successful business. And so it's not until we actually make these bigger leaps in investments, right, that we start to be around a different type of thinking, all right, a different type of entrepreneur. And it's kind of hard to put it into words until you actually do it and you actually experience it. But the big final takeaway as I land the plane here, which is any investment that you make, go all in on it. Because I know that there's some people watching here and I'm like, well, I started this course and didn't finish, and I did this thing, I didn't finish. Yeah, because you didn't go all in. When you go into something, you want to say, okay, I'm going to maximize that. Because the worst thing for someone that's running a mastermind or is a coach or is helping is for the client to not be doing the work and for the client to be blaming, as an example, right? So, and that takes a good coach, by the way, to guide, and coaching and mentoring and consulting to guide you through that. But with any investment, go all in, ask questions, be willing to show up as vulnerable. And I can assure you, the investments that you make will, sometimes they will 10x, 20x, 30x or more. And I've seen this in myself. And you are always going to make investments that don't work out, but you want to recognize and be humble enough and honest enough to say, if I'm honest, was I in the right place in my life? Was it actually me because I didn't action that? And be someone who completes things and do things. If they're trainings, complete them to the full, maximize everything within your investment, and you will see the results as you've seen on this channel with the results of my clients. I will see you in another video. If you've got any questions on masterminds, or if you want to interested in Picklepreneurs Mastermind, then the link is in the description, and I will see you very soon. Take care.